Everyone will face death at some point in their lives, but for some, confronting this subject face-on makes it a far less daunting process.
What I know from organising the death cafes and now the festival is that there are actually a lot of people out there who really do want to talk about death. So it's not about forcing people who don't want to, but it's just about offering a space for people who do want to talk about it, where they can come along and talk. So that, to me, that feels really important. And for me personally, I like remembering that I'm going to die, because it has a real impact on how I live. And in fact, all of these things, the death cafes and the festival, although the subject is death and dying, what it's really about and what it always comes back to is life and living and how we're going to choose to live, given that we're going to die one day.
Penny feels it is important to offer this safe space, as she believes death is viewed in a negative way.
It's the way our society really sort of hides death away and kind of pretends. It's almost like we're pretending we're not going to die. And I think it's really got worse in recent years. When someone from our family dies, the bodies are whipped away. We don't have them. We don't have open coffins. We don't have them in our front room. It's all funerals that were very formalised. With our advances in medical care, people are kept alive for. It's almost like it's a failure to die.
But how can talking about death actually help?
I've found it really helpful to be able to talk about death, because it used to be a scary unknown thing, and I just had thoughts in my head going around. And suddenly when you can talk about them and you can find out about people who've seen a relative die, and that it can be peaceful and really reassuring, and it's given them a lot of hope and not satisfaction, but calm in their lives. It makes it a much more thing, that something you can face, something you can talk about, something you can imagine happening without just fear.
After losing people in her life, Sue believes visiting the death cafe helped her to overcome her fears.
This all started, it sounds really quite silly, my cat died, but it's the first close bereavement I've had, and it happened at the same time as the anniversary of my husband's father's death. So it seemed a good time to just really start talking about it in a very open way, and we both grieved quite differently, but it helped us to be able to communicate.
But it's not just about dealing with death itself. Talking about death may also help ease the process of planning a loved one's funeral.
It's going to happen to all of us, and I have so many conversations with families whereby they haven't communicated their funeral wishes. So when somebody dies, the poor family left behind are full of stress because they don't know what to do. Because a lot of the stress is taken away when the decisions have already been made by the person that's died. So it's so important to communicate what you want before you die, and it really does help the rest of the family, bringing them comfort that they've made the right decisions.
The festival will feature speakers on different aspects of death, as well as art and photography work, skeleton exhibits, and a live show. This is Katura Sestine for That's TV.